Good morning. We have with us Mr. Kamal Bali, President and MD, Volvo India, and he'll be talking to us about the current issues in the automobile sector, especially with regard to emissions, new technologies, and of course, the climate change critical themes at the COP26 summit. Welcome, Mr. Bali. Let me start by asking you how is your company tackling the whole issue of being net carbon neutral and being more environment friendly, especially because yours is a European countries. You are based in Europe, and these countries have very strict emission norms. How is your company aligning to those issues?
Yeah, Jyoti, thank you for having me on this show. As you all know, that Volvo Group is one of the pioneers when it comes to taking the early mover steps on technology. And likewise, electric buses, trucks are already operating on roads, maybe through small series production already in various parts of the world. And Volvo has been one of the pioneers in that. We have also, in addition to electric vehicles, we've also demonstrated platooning electric and fully automated vehicles across highways, mining sites, and construction sites. So, and we are actually leading the transformation via electromobility, connectivity, and new technologies and automation to achieve the future sustainability ambitions. And as I said, we have signed up with Daimler on hydrogen fuel cells. It's a joint venture. The idea is to provide hydrogen electric vehicles through this technology. And then, of course, we have recently formed a company called Volvo Energy, which will focus on charging stations, batteries, and providing circular solutions. And Volvo has committed to aligning our emission targets to 1.5 degree in the Paris Agreement, and we are taking many steps in that regard. For instance, our glide path towards the 1.5 target for trucks and buses and construction equipment means that we will have a targeted 40% reduction in emissions from our vehicles by 2030. And we believe that by 2040, we will be able to meet the goal of being net zero when it comes to climate. And this will be about 10 years before the targeted or the deadline of 2050. So we are well on our way thanks to the various technologies, and we are not dependent on just one technology. So the idea is that we will use all tools in the box to meet this complex challenge, because on one end of the spectrum, you need more mobility, and on other end, you need sustainable mobility, which means with lower emissions. So we are using, as I said, the battery technology for the distribution trucks or the buses, which could be lithium ion or could be others. That could be one piece. But then battery technology, the typical battery technology may not be very useful on heavy duty trucks, intercity trucks moving large distances and carrying large payloads may not be a good idea. So therefore, hydrogen fuel cells would come in handy there. And also we are working with the same old IC engines. Of course, we are always improving them with biofuels, including LNG and other biofuels. So this could be probably our pathway when it comes to meeting the ambition of net zero and providing to the world transportation and mobility which is safe and which is state of the art and which is clean.
You mentioned about hydrogen and your tie-up with Daimler. What kind of stage is it in, and how feasible would be to adopt hydrogen and fuel cell-based technology in vehicles in India? There's a lot of talk in India also about green hydrogen, blue hydrogen, So, do you think it is feasible? I believe the cost prohibitive.
See, this is a new technology. We have formed a joint venture called Cell-Centric, which is basically a joint venture between Volvo and Daimler. So therefore, so hydrogen fuel cell, to our mind, is going to be the key when it comes to high performing heavy duty trucks moving intercity purposes, and we believe this is going to be the way. And I think as far as meeting this goal of a net zero ultimately, and when you're looking at electrification, I think all tools in the box will be used. So there would be, to my mind, 3 or 4 things which will happen. I think one is there will be battery enabled electric vehicles, which will be for typically for distribution trucks, maybe for the passenger vehicles, the cars, and also different kind of batteries for the two-wheelers. The two-wheelers and the three-wheelers will transition much faster to electric vehicle. By 2030, we believe 70 to 80% of two-wheelers in India could be running on battery electric vehicles. So I think that's one. So then when it comes to trucks. So we believe that LNG, or maybe using the IC engine with other cleaner biofuels, with non-fossil fuel. So IC engines will also remain in the picture, to my mind, for many applications. And that could be the second glide path, second way of doing it. And third, obviously, is what I talked about, hydrogen fuel cell. And obviously, this is under development. We believe that by 2025 or 2024-25, we should be in a stage to be able to say that we can do a small serial production and be ready with this very important. So idea is, end of the day, Jyoti, we believe that this is a huge, complex transition. It's not simple. Everything is new. There are uncertainties surrounding new technologies always, but the opportunity lies there only. I mean, if we don't try, if we don't try and experiment in those areas, I don't think we will make it. So I think this is very important and the right way for the industry to go. So using all tools in the box to be able to meet that ambition of net zero.
Your company is in number of other countries as well. And where all have you tried alternative technologies, and whether those technologies have been received well by your customers? And how do you compare that to your Indian customers? Do they ask you for more environment friendly, better efficient vehicles? And is that is it same as say in European countries, or is the awareness level still very low in India?
Yeah, I think 2 things to this. I think when it comes to net zero, and the demand for clean mobility and the demand for more mobility, I think that is very, very clearly expressed all over the world. I think there is no doubt about it. I mean, it's not that India does not want clean and whereas clean mobility, whereas some of the more advanced countries or more evolved countries want it. That is not true. I think every country, and India is doing pretty well on our overall ambition, not only in automotive industry, just at an overall level. But I think what's going to happen is that the transition and the implementation will be different depending on the different levels of evolution in different countries, whether it is the infrastructure, whether it is the maturity of the technology which takes place. I think all of this, maybe some of the countries with high per capita income could embrace these technologies which are less matured initially. And as the technologies get matured over a period of next 5 to 10 years, other countries will come in. I'm sure India will be somewhere in between there in that journey as well. and I don't think India will take too long, because I think the way the government has displayed its ambition very, very clearly, both on infrastructure and also incentivizing through the PLI scheme some of the higher costs which could be taken care through PLIs. I think it will happen in India as well. Of course, I mean, you can't put a particular date on some of these, but I'm sure India will not be very far behind as well.
You mentioned about the production linked incentive scheme of the government of India, and it is particularly aligned to electric vehicle and more environment friendly technologies. Is your company planning to take benefit of the scheme? Of course, it is available only for fresh capacities. So is there a plan in place by your company as far as the scheme is concerned?
No, PLI is a very interesting and a very forward-looking, very unique scheme. I would say unprecedented, and definitely, I mean, I cannot commit on this, but definitely we will look in details into this scheme. It has just been released. It's still work in progress for most of the companies, most of the players to look at what is it in the scheme which we need to understand. And definitely it's an interesting scheme worth attention of every player. Yeah, no doubt about that.
The past 1.5 years have been particularly trying for industry and for a general for economy. And now seems to be a revival, but there is a chip shortage, and which is impeding, the automobile companies progress towards pre-COVID levels of capacity. So, how do you see the pre-COVID level demand in the automobile sector? And as far as your company is concerned, is there a revival? You are particularly present in commercial vehicle segment. So, has there been a revival, because that was slower to come back to the pre-COVID level? So, what is the current status on the demand side?
Yeah, so as far as the industry is concerned, there is no doubt that the bounce back of the volumes in various segments of automotive industry, whether it is the two-wheelers, the cars, the commercial vehicles, every segment of the automotive sector has bounced back fairly quickly, much faster than we all expected. Obviously, as you rightly said in the beginning, we are still below the pre-COVID levels or the peak levels. Let me not say the pre-COVID levels. The peak level for the automotive industry was typically 2018, 2019, that financial year, calendar, or more likely calendar year 2018. We are still short of those peak levels, but I think the industry has bounced back. If I were to look at this, the 6 months of this calendar, of this fiscal year, April to September, it's bounced back by more than 150% over the same period last year. Of course, obviously it was a small base, but nonetheless, these are very large volumes, which has more than doubled, 2.5 times of the last year level. So, which is a very good news for the industry. But obviously, we are still much lower than the pre-COVID levels. So it is going to take. We believe that if things continue the rate at which the Indian economy is shaping up, and the way most high frequency indicators are pointing, I think we should be back. I think next year should be the year 22-23, where we should be around the peak levels registered by the industry in the past. But I think more importantly, it is not the numbers which are important for the automotive industry. It's also the nature of the industry. That is also dramatically, there is a huge paradigm shift happening there. We are already talking about clean mobility. We are talking about electric mobility. We are also talking internally on more efficient logistics and transportation systems. If you look at the efficiency of the logistics systems today is very, very poor. It's very, very low. We need to up the ante even on that. It's not simply diesel versus electric. It's also many other transport concepts. It's many other ways of doing moving the It is also using a lot of automation and connectivity and AI and machine learning when it comes to the loads which the trucks carry. The trucks carry typically less than 25% on an average. So 75% of the truck is empty, moving from point A to point B, which is simply a waste. How can we optimize those loads? How can we do better economies of scale? How can we improve the fuel efficiency by doing things like platooning, which we have done, where the first truck is moving and the next two, the second or the third truck is following the first one, which improves, we have demonstrated, which improves 16% fuel economy, So I think, number of things are happening, Jyoti, on the automotive industry. But as I think, I am very positive and very bullish on this sector, because the way the world is moving, you will need more mobility. The way urbanization is happening, you will need more transport. But that means that how can we provide more sustainable transport? So therefore, mindsets will change. People will be able to look at what exactly do they value. It's not simply so the social impact cost, the overall impact cost, and not just the initial cost of a vehicle. So all of these things are going to matter a lot going forward.
How far the demand has recovered in the commercial vehicle segment?
So I said that in the commercial vehicles, in the period April to September, it is 150% more than the same period last year. So if I were to tell you very broadly, so this is the immediate one. From the period 2015 to 2019, if you look at that 4-year block, the industry grew by almost 70%. And then from 19 to 20, we went down 40%. And then again, we went down 25% then the following year. So now it's the period of, again, bouncing back. We believe, as I said, 22, 23, we will be back. We should be back to similar levels as in the peak level. Yeah.
I mentioned about the chip shortage. How far it has been resolved, and how is your company tackling that issue, especially this time of the year when there is a lot of festival season demand? Though I guess the commercial segment may not be so much, it must be growing all over the period and not really be booming only during festival season. So how far chip shortage has impacted you, and what are you doing to tackle this issue?
So I think there is no doubt about it that the chip shortage has impacted everyone, including us. We've had, in fact, we were just looking at our third quarter results overall for the group, and phenomenal results coming in, despite the fact that chip shortage led to us not being able to fulfill the entire demand which we had. So there is definitely, as you know, in every segment of automotive, and probably everywhere, wherever an electronic control unit is required, any ECU is required, there is an impact. So commercial vehicles have also been impacted, and these are all imported. They are not manufactured in India. So therefore, we have been dependent on partners outside India. So it has impacted, and I feel that it will continue to impact for the next 3 to 4 months as well. So, and I think it's only a matter of time, which is going to be next 6 months, when you will have additional capacities coming in and this problem getting solved ultimately. Not only the chip, I think it is also the steel prices. the commodity prices. This is also a challenge, and this challenge is playing a very, very major is a major impediment on our sector as such, where the prices as well as availability of commodities prices have gone up and availability has become a challenge. So whereas the price realization is not moving in the same, so there is a pressure. There will be a pressure on profitability on all of us in the coming maybe 1 quarter or so. But I think it is transient. I believe that the industry should be able to get out of this maybe in the beginning of next year. But this year, to answer you very, very specifically, yes, there is a challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Bali, for talking to us.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.